Hey, everybody, welcome back. Last week, we celebrated something known as Thanksgiving, and there's a bunch of different opinions on how Thanksgiving should be celebrated and whether it should be celebrated at all. So, originally, the first Thanksgiving was back in 1621, but today it's used as a completely different thing. What do? We get our families together, we celebrate togetherness. Then we argue over politics is usually what happens, right? You got to go to the liberal families.
It's not even that, bro.
Get together and you bring all the Trump stuff, man. That's all you have to do.
Hey,
Or you go to the
wear your MAGA hat.
or you go to the or wear your MAGA hat, or you go to the conservative one and wear the I love Biden shirt, and
Or those siblings, bro. Those siblings are always fighting, especially if you're like that baby sibling and there's years of difference between you. They always feel left out, bro. They always feel left out and so dramatic about their being left out. Why didn't you serve me first? I don't know. There's 15 other people to serve before you.
I couldn't wait. I remember going to my grandparents' house and my cousin and myself and whoever the other little kids were. You were at like the little pop-up table in the back room. And I couldn't wait till I could join the adult table as I got older. Yeah. So Thanksgiving is about giving thanks for many things. And it has changed over the years. Obviously, it's become just like every other holiday, kind of like a Hallmark holiday. But Joe and I are going to kind of talk about some of those things, go over some of the history of it, and rehash over last week's turkey and tryptophan overload.
Ooh, I like that.
Here we go. All right, welcome back. Thanksgiving. What a great time of year. We all eat way too much. And before we get into that, make sure and smash that like button, subscribe to Outspoken, share the show with everyone you know, and hit that bell icon to get updated when we upload new episodes. Well, Joe, what did you do for Thanksgiving?
What I did for Thanksgiving is what everyone else did, is eat, right? Because that's what we do. We enjoy a nice meal, whether with your brother or with your entire family. Unfortunately, this year, both our families are absent in celebration because of other things, and it was just you and I. It got us thinking, it got me thinking as to what are we celebrating? What, in fact, is Thanksgiving, and why is it key for us as Americans to celebrate or to give thanks to? What are we giving thanks to? Are we giving thanks for the nice house? Are we giving thanks for the nice cars? Are we giving thanks for the money in the bank? What? For example, am I giving thanks for the beauty that sits here in this chair? Or what are we being so thankful about? And it got me thinking. I think that's something we brought up during our breakfast at Thanksgiving was, what is Thanksgiving? And did it separate from what it was intended into something that we've created? And you mentioned a lot that the Hallmark memories and things like that has it become a traditional Hallmark moment where traditions and values are gone. And it's more of a process. It's more of like, hey, let's get together, let's drink, let's have fun, let's just fight and argue who's the best president, where this country's gone, whether, you get served first, you get last, you go to the kids' table. What has Thanksgiving become, and why has it become that? So first off, let's go back to what even the dictionary says about Thanksgiving. If the word itself, Thanksgiving, is giving thanks, giving praise to God, right? That's what Thanksgiving is that we give praise to God first and foremost. Those of you that follow our podcast know that we are Christians, but we talk politics, we talk just what's happening. And so today we're going to talk about Thanksgiving and we're going to bring up God. The thing about that is the fact that we've strayed away from that. Right? We've made Thanksgiving more like we have with Christmas. And what do we do with Christmas? We made it a Hallmark moment. It's more of a business. It's more about how much money people are wasting or spending. We've lost those values. I remember when I was a kid in school, I used to make hand turkeys. You trace your hand and then you make the little turkeys.
Yeah.
And you give that to your mother, right? Happy Thanksgiving, Mom. And what did Mom do with it? She put it on the fridge. She was so proud of that moment. And like, oh my good, my little angel. Christmas, we did the same thing, right? We made little noodle trees, right? Remember little noodle trees we'd make?
I do remember those.
All those things were precious moments for a parent, for a child. All those things brought something together. Thanksgiving is the same thing. It's like the precursor to Christmas, right? To where we show our love by giving gifts to each other. And at least that's what we think now. But in Thanksgiving, I think we've lost the fact that we should be thankful, not just for life, but thankful for the people that are around us in those moments, for the people that are still in our lives, the people that impacted our life, who've changed our lives, who are growing with us in life. We forgot about them. Like many things in our society, we've gone away from caring about humanity and turned it inward into caring about just ourselves. And I think that's what has changed the holidays for us and what's made them not as special anymore. It almost feels like a burden. Like, oh, comes Thanksgiving again and I don't want to cook and so and so. Where before it was like, I can't wait. As a child, I remember like, oh my God, I can't wait to go to my cousin's house. We're going to run around. We're going to, create chaos and just have fun. And we're going to eat. We're going to eat biscuits. We're going to eat what a holiday was, brought families together. We sat at the table and gave grace together. We brought memories together. We enjoyed more memories. We took more pictures. It all's gone away. Now people end up fighting in these events. They end up drunk. They end up not caring about each other. That's sad because that takes the value of what these holidays were intended for. And we've made them more of self-gratitude. It's all about me. It's about what I brought. I brought the best cranberry sauce, or, whatever the case is. Green bean casserole was the best. I used real onions, French onions. It's not anymore about spending the time together with your family, making these meals. I remember my aunts and my grandmother and my mom and everybody in the kitchen just baking away, enjoying. The men were out there watching sports or BSing, and the kids were running all over the place. No one was fighting. No one was arguing. It was just everyone came together. It wasn't about politics. It wasn't about anything but the time together as a family. And we've gone away from that. Like you mentioned earlier, everything's gone it's been so politicized that we just fight about everything now. We fight about like, does that have MSG? Is it health for the environment? Should we be using propane to cook the turkey? Is that a vegan turkey? Yes. The turkey ate salad while it was alive. But like it just gone to being so selfish, being so about me, and we forget about the people that we should be thankful for. And that's what Thanksgiving is. It's in the word. We give thanks to God and we give thanks to the people that are in our lives, not thanks to ourselves. That's stupid. That's selfish. What do you think? Do you agree? Or do you think that I'm off? You think I'm a little cray?
No, that's 100% right, Joe. The New England colonists at the time were accustomed to regularly celebrating Thanksgiving, days of prayer, thanking God for blessings, for crops and end of droughts, military victories, all those kind of things. This was a big deal for the colonists at the time. The first Thanksgiving, like we had said in the beginning, was in 1621. And the whole idea behind it was they got together with the Wampanoag people, okay, the natives that were there.
Did you say Padawan?
Yeah, the Padawans, from Star Wars.
Star Wars was there.
Wampanoag people. And it was celebrated in the New England area, but would be now Plymouth, Massachusetts is what, is in the history books and everything. And the reason all of this went on, right, is because the Native American people helped the settlers to grow their first crops. In that first feast, what we consider Thanksgiving, the natives of the time, they brought like venison and stuff like that to the feast. So, and of course, turkeys became just it's just like Halloween.
Symbolic?
Yeah, it's symbolic. It's like Halloween now. You think of a jack-o'-lantern. Well, there was all kinds of gourds that were used, right? A pumpkin is a type of a gourd. And that's what, was around at that time. Same thing. Turkey was just one of the things. It just became the symbol for Thanksgiving. And the thing is that what people don't understand, they say, oh, well, then they turned on the natives. Listen, it was almost 55 years before all of that went astray, right? So we have to start to think that it wasn't like they had Thanksgiving and then they went and killed, the settlers went and killed a bunch of the natives. The settlers were the ones that were being friendly. It was the new folks that were coming over that started causing problems. They didn't even like the settlers. They were having problems with them and stuff. The original thought about this whole thing was that it was for giving thanks for God, for the bounty that we have in food. Yeah. And the main thing was for the friendship that they had in getting these first people that had landed in Plymouth to survive. I mean, these people lost their lives in the first couple winters that they went through. I mean, well over half the people that originally came weren't there 2 years later.
They weren't ready. They weren't ready for America.
They weren't ready. No, man, you think about it. We know now because we live in Arizona. My gosh, it gets cold up in the New England area, and right on the water and everything. Man, those people, and they didn't have housing and stuff. Everything was really, makeshift everything. And of course, you had the England and France and Spain, which were kind of fighting it out over there, and they were trying to use this new land for tobacco and for cotton and all those kind of things. They wanted that, and spices. Their big thing was
we had great soil here. You know what I mean?
That's right. So they were trying to get all of the stuff from here back over there. So that was really, they didn't care about the settlers that were here. It was a money venture for those folks.
And a side note to you, environmental warriors, Plymouth Rock is still there, and the water has not changed the elevation of how it is on that rock. So clearly the ocean is not rising. So FYI.
Is that the same rock? Haven't they
It's the
moved
same
it?
rock.
Or
No,
is
no,
it?
it's the same. Yeah, it's the same rock. It's engraved. Hasn't moved. To take pictures back into I don't know when, and then recent pictures, and it's gotten a little greener,
mossy?
but it's the water level is still the same. I mean, it's got a little thing around it. So just saying, unless they're digging holes and making it go lower or higher, I don't know. What do I know?
Adding sand. Well,
Yeah, well,
if anything, it would go lower, not just because of the water rising, but because of, what do you call it?
erosion.
Erosion underneath it.
You didn't think I knew big words, huh? That you were the only one. All right, I got you, sir. I got you.
Who put the 1620 in that thing? I wonder.
I don't know. That's a good.
Like,
That's
who
a good
carved
point.
that?
I don't know.
Huh.
It was someone's tooth. Someone's tooth went in her snarled tooth. That thing, but you're and again though you're right. Because we could get into a whole different discussion about natives and the pilgrims and and clearly there's still some wounded hearts out there about that whole thing, just like slavery.
No matter what your legends say, you didn't sprout from the plains like the spring grasses, and you didn't coalesce out of the ether. You came out of the Minnesota woodlands, armed to the teeth, and set upon your fellow man. You massacred the Kiowa, the Omaha, the Ponca, the Oto, and the Pawnee without mercy, and yet you claim the Black Hills as a private preserve bequeathed to you by the Great Spirit.
And who gave us the guns and powder to kill our enemies? And who traded weapons to the Chippewa and others who drove us from our home?
Chief Sitting Bull, the proposition that you were a peaceable people before the appearance of the white man is the most fanciful legend of all. You were killing each other for hundreds of moons before the first white stepped foot on this continent. You conquered those tribes, lusting for their game and their lands, just as we have now conquered you for no less noble a cause.
This is your story of my people.
This is the truth, not legend.
The reality of things is that we have surpassed that. We have come together to a point. But the purpose of that is it's just like Christianity, right? The everything's changed as Islam has taken over in certain parts of the country. It happens. This is what happens, right? And so Thanksgiving has gone astray. And again, I feel like it's been hijacked, not just only by selfish people, but by major corporations, using the brand and making it more about commercializing the whole aspect of it. And that's fine. That's what we do. The problem is that we as the consumers, we fall for that, right? We start eating at that. We'll buy a bottle of whiskey because it has a little turkey next to it, and it could say something special, or everybody commercializes things, and that's okay. Christmas is the same way. But I think the importance here, what we're getting at, is that we need to go back to those old traditions. And let me tell you why. And I think personally, this is important to me. It's important because we've gone away from caring for each other, right? One of the things that, and this is something we talked about in our last episode, one of the things that I've learned is that love, the traditional love that we know of, is wrong. That's not, we talk about it being an emotion, a feeling, but it's an act, right? It's something that we as individuals, like if I love somebody, I give myself to that person, right? I'm not jealous of that person. I care about that person. I'm patient with that person. I forgive that person. That's love. It's an act. It's something that you show up to every day and present. I'm making this choice to do. As Christians and as humanity, we have to come together and choose to do the right thing now, right? To choose to say, you know what? This is not about me. This day is not about me and my blessings. It's about the person sitting in front of me, the person sitting next to me, to my father, my mother, people that are not even there to celebrate with you. But it's about them. It's about what they've brought to your life, and now you have to in turn give back. Right? Because we got so much to be thankful for. As poor as we want to say we are, as difficult as it is to live today in today's society, we are 99% better off than a lot of these countries. And we complain about, like, oh my God, my blinds fell. I live in a poor house. I'm like, you have a window. Be thankful for a window. My dad took me one time to Mexico where he was raised, and this house, this little shack, is by the river. The floor is dirt, right? And the windows just have a shutter. There's no glass in them. And so literally when we woke up in the morning, my aunt is sweeping the dirt floor. I'm like, what are you sweeping? Like it's a dirt floor, right? But they take pride in it. They're thankful that there's a roof over their head, that when it's raining outside, they don't have to sit in that rain, right? Because if you're cold, you throw a blanket on. So what if you don't have a window? mosquitoes would eventually get tired of sucking on your blood, but here's the thing that I saw, and this is what changed a lot about me back when I was younger, is that the love they had for each other, like my aunt's love in cooking and making us a meal, the fact that we were there with her made her happy, and God, I've never tasted a meal so delicious when it's made with so much love, and the hot chocolate she made for us, amazing. And you think about these moments and you're like, I have so much to be thankful for. I look back and I'm like, I have so much to be thankful for. I look back at my life 5-6 years ago, Jay, and you could testify to this. And I look at it now and I'm like, I definitely have so much to be thankful for. I'm thankful, one, I'm not dead. Things aren't falling off of me. There's just so much stuff to be thankful for. And the fact that I'm here today, God has blessed me in so many ways. I'm being thankful. And you have these kids today, that are not thankful for anything, and yet they're blessed. You got these kids with the purple hair and their $1,600 cell phone drinking their latte, crying about capitalism.
Right.
And I'm thinking, how about you be thankful to your parents for the little things you do have? Like that $1,600 phone, like the fact you could go buy a latte, the fact that you have a credit card, things like that. As an ungrateful child, to you, that's like, I'm owed that. You ain't owed nothing.
Right.
You're not owed anything, and yet you have it. Why? Because parents loved you enough to provide, right? And so in turn, what do? We forget about our parents, right? We don't include them. We don't talk to them. We're like, whatever. We don't honor them like we're supposed to. We're selfish. And I'll say it again. We're a society that's turned against each other. And now we only think of ourselves.
Right.
That's not nothing to be thankful for, brother.
No, not at all. A lot of it, and we've talked about this many times before, is as you watch the world, as we turn away from God, you can see the downfall of everything. Again, I've said this over and over. It's not necessarily so much that people going to church every Sunday or the full belief in God, but using that lifestyle that was created a long time, and people in this country followed that whole system, right? So you had young kids grew up in a community where they had parents that were always there that raised them, right? The mom and dad stayed together. There's a first key point. Everybody went to church on Sundays, and all those people were in that same community. The school was usually in the church, right? So they used, because it was cheaper, you're using the school on Monday through Friday, churches on Sunday. You can use it for potlucks on Saturday if you want, right? So it's a multi-use facility. So all of these things were and there's a saying that's been around for a long time. It takes a village to raise a child. And that's what used to happen, is the villages raised the children with the same standards and moral ideals. And this is why societies, not to say that anything was perfect. The world's never been perfect. Things were much better, and kids were raised with manners. I mean, there's one of these things that I don't know if you heard, and I don't want to sidebar too much, but there's this thing going on right now with airlines are talking about making it where you have to wear like closed-toed shoes. You can't wear flippers and stuff to get onto the plane. You actually have to have shoes. You can't have pajamas and stuff like that to get on. You don't have to go back very far, man. You remember Pan Am, right? Pan Am planes. Yeah. If you just search Pan Am and then search customers or flights or whatever and look at the pictures of them, brother, the pictures, the men were in suits, the women dressed nice. And the stewardess and stewards, they were phenomenally. And to this day, they've kind of kept a little bit of that alive, with their vests and stuff like that. Yeah. Try to make it like it was a special thing to take a flight across the country and then across the world, even more so. Now,
you're able to smoke too, though.
People smoked on airplanes.
Just say it.
Crazy. Society was so much different. Look at pictures from anywhere from like the 1920s all the way up to the 40s and 50s, and look at big cities, L.A., New York, all these big cities, and look at video from those. People going to the grocery store were wearing suits, right? They had slacks on. People got ready to go out. Now, go to Walmart, and what do you see? The people of Walmart. Guys in fishnet stockings, people just, everything's hanging out weird. And, it's just like there's no pride and no care for themselves, but anything else, right? Yeah. And then there is the whole thing of, well, I'm going to do whatever I want and push people out of the way. And what do? Leave shopping carts behind, your car. So when you get there, you got to push their stupid shopping cart in because they can't walk 5 feet to put a shopping cart away. So society has changed tremendously. And just like you said, Joe, we have walked so far away from the basic Thanksgiving traditions that we used to have. We've walked way away from them. And it's more than just getting together and having turkey or ham or, whatever kind of food you like.
I'm a vegan. Like,
yeah, if you're a
salads.
vegetarian family and want salad and tofu, knock yourself out. Yeah. It has changed so much because families are getting busier, and those basic traditions, think about just regular evenings. It used to be dad got home, mom had already fixed the meal. She's like, no, kids, you got to get all your stuff done, because the second dad gets home, we're all sitting down at the dining room table and we're all eating together. Every single night it was like that. Well, that's not the case anymore. Dad works nights, mom works during the day, the kids are off at school, then they come home and the oldest sibling is watching them, or who knows what's going on, right? And so there isn't this semblance of gatherings with families like there used to be. And so it makes it tougher. So now the holidays are seeing that fracturing too, is that we're not getting together like we used to. And, this is a unique one for us, because for me, this is one of the first ones I haven't been with, my mom, my aunts, and
wow.
And hung out for. I honestly can't remember the last time this happened. I don't think it's ever happened. So, but there's a bunch of stuff going on with moves, and all that kind of thing.
I feel you, bro, because the first time, since I've been back, that I've not spent it with the kids doing something with Thanksgiving and their mom, and it's like they're growing up, man. They're they're gonna have they have their own families that they're gonna be sharing it with. In fact, I was talking to my son about it, and they're like, "Dad, so what are we doing for Christmas?" I was like, I'm rolling with the punches. I go, you guys have your side of families now, so if you guys go there, I'm not gonna be heartbroken. Your mom will understand, and I've told her this is going to happen. They're going to have to spend those holidays with them, and we'll just catch whatever crumbs falling from the table, right? So, like, if my daughter just stays home, and then I guess we're having Christmas with my daughter. We have to change the whole point, Jay, and you're right. It's been a long time since we've been away from what our traditional gathering is, and trust me, mom has cooked. She cooks up a storm come Thanksgiving. I think you have leftovers for like half the year, and
frozen turkey,
and that's good because I enjoy half of that, right? So
yeah.
So I just want to say that, we need to take a moment to pause, to breathe the meaning of this season, what it means to us. Thanksgiving isn't just about the food on the table or the traditions that we hold as individuals, like you and I have held for many. It's about the people we share it with, right? It's about the lessons we learned along the line to this point, and the grace that carries us forward, right? We have to be thankful that whatever turbulence, whatever season, whatever passage we went through, we're here now. We're together, whether it's 2 people, 3 people, the entire family, we're here. And we should be thankful that we have those moments. We should be grateful for the laughter that we share, for the challenges that shaped us throughout the season, and for the community that continues to grow around us, right? Especially in our podcast, in our church. All those things are held close and dear to us, and those create these long-lasting impressions and memories for us, and reminds us that words matter, right? Voices matter, that connections matter. And when you're sitting at the table griping about some stupid thing, you're missing the opportunity to hear, to consume those words, those voices of laughter, those connections that you never know if we're going to be here tomorrow. It's never guaranteed, right? We don't know that. And I think it's important that people start looking at things for what they're worth. These moments are precious, and they're not going to repeat themselves ever again. Again. This moment that you and I have right now will not happen again. We don't know when we get that last hug, that last laughter, that last joy of hanging out with a sister, with a brother, with a nephew, none of that. Because tomorrow, in the blink of an eye, that person, anyone could stop existing. Right. And what do we do with our time? We spent it being selfish and griping about potato salad, or griping about the president, or griping about things that don't even impact us, right? Like colored hair, right? Or who has the prettiest eyes, or why the Cowboys suck. We spend time in doing things like that. So we have to stop focusing on ourselves inwardly and start focusing outwardly to the people around us who have shaped our lives and who's made us who we are and continue to grow with us in this life.
You couldn't have said it better. When there's gatherings, there's a Bible verse in Matthew 18:20 that says, and I'm not going to get it verbatim, but for where there's 2 or 3 gathered in my name, I'm among them, is what Jesus says. And
Amen,
that's a big Big thing that we have to remember, if there's only, like, there was only two of us during Thanksgiving, right? We went and had breakfast and hung out and such. There was two of us there, and that was a gathering, and that was a family, and our family was with us in our hearts, and they all wish they were there or that we could have been with them, kind of deal. And if there was one more person, great. One more to the party. Another person making it 4, even that much better. 5, 10, 20. So it really doesn't matter the amount of people. The thing that I do worry about, and we talk about this quite a bit, is the people that on Thanksgiving Day spend it alone in depression and stuff like that, and that's
homeless in the streets,
or homeless in the streets, man. In this country where we live in the 90, not 75, 85, 90 percentile of the rest of the world. Just everything we have, everything that's available to us. I mean, there's a reason that everybody comes to this country from all the, we talk about immigrants and all that kind of stuff. Bro, there's a reason that people come to this country, and they bypass 50 other countries to come here. It's because there's so much offering here, and there's so much reason for Thanksgiving, right? For folks to be here. Is this country perfect? Absolutely not. And you can't find a perfect country out there. I promise you that. The thing is that we as a society and we as decent human beings, and if you're not a decent human being, you're one of the problems in the first place.
Yeah.
But as decent human beings, we need to be the ones that change this idealist set that everything's for me. Everything is just on a selfish platform, right? And we've got to get back to where we watch out for our fellow man. I was actually at a store and I had to stop by and get something. And this guy was in front of me, and he was out of all things, he was getting a Monster energy drink where, really need to get those in the first place. But he was trying to get one, and he had an EBT card, and it wouldn't let him get it. Right. And he started to walk out, and I just saw like his face and everything. There was like an embarrassment almost that he had and everything. And I got a couple things, and I tapped him on the shoulder. I said, brother, just put it up there, and went ahead and bought it for him. I'm not trying to promote people drinking Monsters or anything like that.
Horrible.
But that guy stood outside and waited for me to come out. And he was like, I want to shake your hand. Thank you so much for doing that. People just don't do this kind of stuff nowadays. And I said, you know what? Let me tell you, normally I wouldn't do stuff like that. I said, for some reason, God put it on my heart. And I said, God bless you, bro. And take care of yourself. And I said, honestly, stop drinking those things. That's what I told him. But,
especially Monster. It's the devil.
Monster. Yeah. It's the devil drink. We've got to be good to people once in a while, bro.
Yeah.
And when God puts that stuff on your heart, you gotta act to it now, because that, just like you said a few minutes ago, these moments that we have of togetherness with people, or one little moment that we can minister to somebody to help them in so many ways, right? Whether it's getting them off of alcohol and drugs, loneliness and self-eradication thoughts and all these kind of things. We never know the one little thing that we do in being thankful, that Thanksgiving, that we've been given so much that we can pass along a little something, and it doesn't have to be money. It can be, again, gratitude and kindness to other people. That's all it takes, and we can change this entire world one person at a time.
I agree, brother. I think one of the things coming into this holiday season, and I'm talking to you out there, that we could do is, you don't realize the power of a text, the power of a verse that's sent to a friend, the power of one sent to a loved one, to a family member. It takes just a moment. The text doesn't take that long. We spend hours sending memes to each other. We spend hours. We spend hours. We spend hours texting each other. We spend hours arguing with people about the stupidest things at the water fountain. We spend all kinds of times wasted in doing some of the most selfish acts that we could find. But for some reason, somehow, we could never find time to send a text to someone we love or care about. And sometimes it's only a text that they need to stop an act of violence towards themselves or others. It's just a text they need to hear that they matter to somebody. So I challenge everyone out there that in this holiday season, that you reach out to someone you haven't reached out to in a long time. Reach out to a family member you haven't spoken to a long time. Someone that you were constantly in communication, for some reason, it just kind of died off. Reach out to them. See how they're doing. Send a text. Send a Bible quote, a Bible verse. Just say hello, or just simply say, I see you. And that could change someone's life forever. If not forever, at least for the moment. So I challenge all you guys out there in this holiday season, take care of each other. Love one another. Remember, we're not here to serve ourselves. We're here to serve each other. So serve each other.
All right. Yep. And Thanksgiving next year, don't take the first spoonful of potato salad. Put it on somebody else's plate, even if they don't like potato salad.
Yeah.
Or whatever you...
I love potato salad, but the moment you put olives on it, we're done. We're not
We're
friends.
done. We're not friends anymore.
No. You'll be on the naughty list for Christmas.
Well, you guys, again, we hope that you enjoyed your Thanksgiving, and hopefully you had a good time with family and didn't argue about politics too much or anything else, maybe sports teams. Who was playing on Thanksgiving? That was
Kansas City Cowboys.
Kansas City and Cowboys. There
That's all
you
that
go.
matters. That's all that matters in life. That's all that matters in life.
Well, listen, y'all, before we get out of here, make sure and smash that like button, subscribe to Outspoken, share the show with everyone you know, and hit that bell icon to get updated when we upload new episodes. Like Joe said earlier, take care of one another.
And remember, do better, be better.
And as always, God bless America.
We'll see you guys next week. Have a wonderful week.
See you next Tuesday. Let's go.